I am going to start with probably my favourite statement ever that will hopefully get your brains thinking. You are losing customers online without even realising it. I'll say it again, you are losing customers online without even realising it. But what do I mean by this? Well, imagine a customer is browsing the used car listings for a car and they find 3 cars that are similar in price, spec, they're all within a same kind of geographical location, so travelling distance isn't an issue. Only one of these will win the customer, right? But who? Which dealership's going to win that customer? How do you become the one that wins the customer who has that level of choice? You've got to stand out somehow. Well, if the customer's buying journey starts online and they're being influenced by what they see, the business who is most active, who is most engaging, who is delivering the best experience will usually be the one that wins that business. I think that's fair to say. I think we'd probably all agree with that. But becoming that person is simple, but it's also quite difficult. So if you're less than the most active, you're less than the most engaging, you're not delivering the best digital experience to your closest competitor, you'll be losing that customer online without realizing it, because they're simply bypassing you. They're going to the other person. So this also means in a world of kind of high quality digital experiences that your photos need to be standing out from everyone else's. You should have videos that aren't just slideshows or voiceless walkarounds. You need to be thinking, and feel free to jot this down, how can we ensure we are presenting ourselves better than everyone else? Because that's absolutely key in today's world where customers are shifting their behaviours, they're shifting their decision making to starting online. So what are some of the influencing factors that have kind of led to this shift of behaviour? What's kind of created this yearning for a better online experience? Well, firstly and obviously, technology. You're listening to an audio event on a little device that you usually have in your hand or your pocket, which can make a phone call to anyone on planet Earth. It's a bit mad, but technology is really influencing customers' buying behaviour. This kind of mobile phone culture means that virtually anyone that you know and everyone who will become a potential customer is spending a lot of their spare time scrolling through websites and social media. So this is the place where their engagement is during the day, and ignoring that side of things is quite dangerous. It can lead to you missing out on opportunities to influence. It can lead you to missing out on opportunities to impact people who actually might be in their buying journey. We also need to consider how this technology has upped everyone's expectations of businesses. In today's world, if you aren't responding to an inquiry really quick with a high definition video and some personalization, to many customers that will seem like you're just not bothered. You're not attempting to keep up with the times. Now, I'm not suggesting, for 1 second, please get this right, I'm not suggesting you need to go out and buy brand new high-end video equipment or anything crazy, but just ensuring you have a modern phone with a decent camera, some good audio, which is a £12 clip-on mic from Amazon. Those sorts of little things can really make a difference and can have a big impact on the customers that you're dealing with. The next thing I'd say is an influencing factor is convenience. So phones and the internet have made digital interactions and everyday tasks extremely easy and accessible. So reducing friction during your online process and making things simple is really important. I will come on to this in more detail shortly, so maybe if you have got a pen or paper, just jot down the words seamless digital experience, because that's really key for future-proofing a business, and I'm going to lean on that again in a minute. And the final thing that I would say is an influencing factor is changing preferences. And what this ultimately means is that people don't act like they used to. Fewer people visit the forecourts. You'll all know this, in fact, probably better than me at this point. But fewer people visit forecourts to view a car these days, and most of them who do will have done a huge amount of research online before taking that step. So it's really important to consider what type of presence you have online and how you can improve it. And if you're doing something well, how you can kind of double down on that as well. We will ignore social media just for a moment and just think about sort of direct sales tools that you have. So This is sort of online listing sites like AutoTrader, your website, and how optimized these are for influencing your customers and delivering that top-notch experience. I think that's really, really key. For example, if your customers consume mostly video content, which, let's face it, I would be biased, but we all know that they do in the world that we're living in. In fact, we all know that you guys will consume ungodly amounts of video content like everyone else. So you should have videos of all your cars online. It feels like a no-brainer to say that, and there's no exceptions. Just having photos in a world that is so video-based is just not putting in the effort to try and optimize your opportunities. Now, when I say videos, I am not, I am not talking about AI software turning your photos into a slideshow video. That is the biggest cop-out in the world. I mean investing the time in creating a bespoke video for each vehicle online. It doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be fancy, but if you have skilled salespeople who understand how to create good customer videos, they'll be more than able to create a 90-second video of some quality for your listings. That is how you tap into the changing preferences and behaviours of your customers. At this point, does that all make sense? Are we all cool? Happy with that? Because it's really key to understand that before jumping into the next part, which is all about creating sort of seamless digital experiences. Now, here's something I say to many dealerships when we run our training sessions on this, with their management more specifically. If I was in a senior role in a dealer group, the first thing I would look at is the ratio of salespeople in the showroom versus the digital inquiry handlers. For example, if I had 60% of my inbound leads coming from online channels versus 40% walk-ins, and I actually know that the ratios are even more heavily towards inbound leads, I would have to be thinking, do I have enough people handling those online channel leads? Because for most, actually the ratio is sort of like you have 10% online inquiry handlers handling 60-70% leads versus 90% showroom staff who are handling a smaller amount. Of course you have customers in the showroom, but actually the online leads are the main source of leads. So when you look at the facts that we've kind of already discussed, such as customers starting their buying journeys online and interacting with dealerships online before making the decision to visit the showroom, I would expect to see the same, if not more, people effectively managing the online element than handling showroom customers. Because if you aren't responding quick enough to an inquiry or handling these inquiries in a professional and personalised way, perhaps with video, then you're losing opportunities, again, without even realising it, because customers are just bypassing you and going to someone else. It's crazy when you look at the actual statistics in it. So I'd say to look at the number of inquiries that you have come in and that have gone cold, i.e. they've just not responded to your replies, and actually dissect that, see how quick your response was and how it was handled. It's relatively simple as an exercise, but can show you some really interesting trends and sort of areas of opportunity that you can jump on. Now, I mentioned it a minute ago, but the example I always refer to when we're kind of trying to create those frictionless experiences and creating a better online experience for customers is Amazon. Because you're not selling air fryers or books, but the idea that they just reduce friction, are very quick at what they do, has just made, for customers that have very little attention spans, it's made it very efficient, it's made it very effective. You can buy stuff in one click. So now looking at your own online experience, are there too many steps between the customer visiting, say your website, and then inquiring? Or is it just a click or two? Because the less friction and the less steps that they have to take, the easier it is. And therefore that will lead to higher inquiry rates. Are we all happy with that? I know I'm trying to funnel through these, but I'm conscious I don't want to run over on time, but there's a lot of things I want to get to. The next thing we want to do is influence customers during the online journey. We all know, and we're from the industry, so we all understand the importance of a first impression and how that counts for everything really. And in the showroom, that first interaction can absolutely make or break the customer's decision to purchase from you. Would you all agree? I can't hear you, but I imagine you're probably saying yes. So If a customer has decided to start their journey online, would you also agree that it's still important to give them a friendly, personal, and positive first impression? But how can you do that when you're not physically with the customer? That's the question. How do you influence them effectively if you haven't got them stood right in front of you? So the thing I'd like you to consider here is influencers online. I'm not saying to go and hire an influencer, but just consider them. Now, you've probably got someone that comes to mind when I say an influencer that you follow. Maybe it's a YouTube personality or a car reviewer on YouTube. Having consumed their content enough, you no doubt feel that you know them a little, and that if you met them in person, you would feel a sense of sort of connection with them. The same feelings can be created for your customers by your dealership through a number of different methods, which I'm going to list out now. Number one, content. Obviously, this audio event isn't about social media, although I will cover that soon in a different one. But if you put out consistent amounts of content with your image and personality, people will start to see this and associate it with your brand and your business. So I recommend exploring your social media strategy here, and kind of feel free to send me a message. Actually, just send me the word social if you want any tips, because I can't really go deep into it here. But if you want any kind of advice and things that I could maybe look at your site and go, you could probably benefit from doing this here or there in your social media platforms, just message me the word social. Number two would be video. And I'm completely biased, obviously, but video is the closest thing to an in-person interaction. And whilst we as an industry have the technology and the apps to make videos, and some even have targets with videos, it's actually seldom kind of viewed as a serious aspect of the business operations. Yet it's actually one of the most important and most powerful tools in a dealership's arsenal right now. Again, going back to the point that most customers' buying journeys have changed, and most customers' interactions online have changed where they consume massive amounts of video. So upskilling your entire sales team in video effectiveness and motivation can bring a real consistency of message and experience for a customer, and that will encourage sales teams to make more videos because they'll feel more confident, and then they'll get on board with videos and start uploading them to listings to impact the customer journey, and ultimately it creates this positive cycle which will lead to a more personal digital experience for customers and better outcomes for your business. And then we've kind of got to lean on this, and this is my favourite thing in the world. We have to mention YouTube channels in today's world. Now, this links to both content and videos, and if your dealership hasn't already set this up, i.e. a YouTube channel, now is absolutely the time to do it. Think about how much influence car review channels have on YouTube. Customers will literally, and I speak for myself as someone who's actively actually looking for a car, will spend huge amounts of time viewing videos and ultimately making their buying decision from the information that they're being given in these channels. So these review channels have to ask to use the cars. They don't have them in stock. Whereas you will have, no doubt, the most newest models literally on your forecourt that you can drive and review. So you can set this channel up, review the cars that you have that before anyone else, and set a stall as the go-to people for information and influence on the newest products from your brand. It hurts my brain that more people in dealerships, or dealerships in general, I'll use that umbrella, don't have strong YouTube channels, because it is madness that a company like CarWow, for example, can review cars that they don't even own and amass this massive influence, and car dealerships that actually have the cars in stock don't do the same. So I'll leave it there before I go off on an absolute rant. Number three, personality. Now, we know people buy from people, and people buy from people that they like. And if you want to influence people online, you need to bring your personality to your videos and during any digital touch points, to be honest. It's an exciting time for a customer when they're looking to buy a car. It's also a time when they're full of anxiety, but mostly excitement. And nothing will put someone off more than a monotone, bored-sounding sales exec on a video. And trust me, I've heard them. Not everyone's like this. There are some amazing people on video. But there's also some people that sound or look like they really don't want to be making that video response to a customer. They don't bring any of the personality that they have if they met you in person, and you just don't get good vibes from them. You will lose customers at that stage every single time if your people are not presenting themselves as these energetic, enthusiastic people. And it's kind of twice as hard to get across your personality through video as it is in person, so you have to try extra hard as well, whereas most people actually try half as hard. So if you can really tap that into your teams, that, or if you're in that role yourself, bring a high level of enthusiasm to everything you're doing through video, whether it's an inquiry response, whether it's a social media video post, whether it's a car listing that you have that you want to just put a face to the brand on your listings online. Everything has to be this elevation of your personality, and you will just tap into that rapport building with your customers every single time. And you'll often actually find that customers end up coming into the showroom and saying that, "Hi, I saw Lee, he was on the video, can I speak to Lee?" Because they feel like they know that individual. So it's really, really powerful. And I just want to lean on this. It's not my place to say, but for me personally, it's a non-negotiable that every video should have a salesperson on camera like they're on FaceTime to a friend. You cannot build rapport with a customer if they can't see you. So present yourself confidently and positively with your face on camera, as we've just discussed. Kind of raise your tone of voice, increase your enthusiasm for the brand. Just put across a really good version of yourself, and that will pay dividends. So, how's that been for everyone so far? Is anyone able to just like put a thumbs up if it's been okay? If everyone's still with me? Just want to check. Cool, thanks, Grant. Appreciate it. Lovely stuff. I kind of want to wrap this up with some things that I would just... two things that I would suggest car dealerships do right now just to sell a few more cars. And that would be, firstly, review all of your current digital activities and abilities. What are you doing well and not so well? What is the customer's digital buying experience like? What are your current digital inquiry response times? Are you using social media effectively? Are your inquiry responses, sent with that personalization, that video, or are they just sort of a templated response email? All of these things are really important to look at and actually consider. So that's something I would strongly suggest that you look at. And also just speak, if you're kind of running a sales team, and you understand the value of video, you understand the value of this kind of digital experience for your customers, actually speak to your sales team, the people that are going to be using this technology, and establish if they feel confident and ready for using video in their role. Because I can tell you from experience, most don't. Most feel like they've been given a video app and told to go and make a video, which isn't something they're even trained to do. So what do you think the results will be in that situation? And for a sales exec, if you're listening, just kind of ask your manager for training if you don't feel like you're as effective as you could be. It's really, really important.